how can you not be optimistic about the future of humanity when you see things like what I'm going to share with you right now? Essentially, the corollary of that is to be pessimistic about human beings in our world that we're occupying today and that we're going into each and every day is to deliberately be ignoring the truth. There's no other way around that. I don't get it. So let's dive into this, and this isn't necessarily financial planning related. From the Journal of Petroleum Technology through the Society of Petroleum Engineers, I think produces the Journal of Petroleum Technology. Dateline 7 October 2019. The U.S. Geological Survey, Appalachian formations hold estimated 214 trillion cubic feet of gas. That's just the Appalachians formations. The Marcellus and the Utica shales, 214 trillion cubic feet of gas. For those of you who wondered what a cubic feet of gas is, I didn't know either, so I looked at Petropedia. A trillion cubic feet, abbreviated as TCF, is a volume measurement unit of natural gas. A trillion cubic feet is equivalent to approximately 1 quad. A quad is an abbreviation for a quadrillion BTUs, British thermal units, which is a measurement of energy representing the amount of heat that is needed to raise the temperature by 1 degree per pound of water. So basically, for every pound of water, we want to raise the temperature by 1 degree. How many BTUs does it take to do that? It's a British thermal unit, BTU. And a trillion cubic feet, a TCF, is the measurement unit of natural gas, is equivalent to approximately a quadrillion BTUs. The amount of that is insane. So listen to this. The Marcellus Shale and Point Pleasant Utica Shale formations of the Appalachian Basin hold an estimated mean of 214 trillion quads of BTUs. 214 quads of BTUs, 214 trillion cubic feet of undiscovered, technically recoverable continuous resources of natural gas. That's according to an updated assessment from the U.S. Geological Survey. And that's the mean. So that means there could be more. Could be less, could be more. The Marcellus, Point Pleasant, and Utica extend into parts of Kentucky, Maryland, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia. Of course, New York bans fracking. Idiots, but hey, everybody else doesn't. So when I see Kentucky, I don't know about Maryland, but Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, I see opportunity there for sure, just to power our world. Absolutely. USGS assessments are for remaining resources and exclude already known or produced oil and gas. Those remaining resources and exclude already what's known. The new numbers, about 97 trillion cubic feet of gas for the Marcellus and 117 trillion cubic feet of gas for Utica, Point Pleasant, represent large increases from previous USGS assessments of both formations. In 2011, the USGS estimated a mean of 84 trillion cubic feet in Marcellus and only about 38 in the Utica. Now it's 97 and 117. Seeing the USGS estimates for the Marcellus rise from 2 to almost 100 trillion cubic feet in less than 20 years. So 20 years ago, what's that? Based on the turn of the century, they expected only 2 trillion cubic feet. It's gone from 2 trillion to over 100, almost 100 trillion in the Marcellus shale in less than 20 years. So the effects of American ingenuity and new technology, says USGS Director Jim Riley. Since our assessments in 2011 and 12, industry has improved upon its development techniques for continuous resources like the shale gas and the Appalachian Basin. That technological advancement, plus all the geological information we've gained from the last several years of production have allowed us to greatly expand our understanding of these formations. The gas in these formations is classified as continuous because it is spread throughout the assessed rock layers instead of being concentrated in discrete accumulations. Production techniques like directional drilling, and hydraulic fracking are required to produce these resources. So God bless George Mitchell. And not the senator from Maine, George Mitchell. That guy's a stain on our country. George Mitchell, the real George Mitchell, is a hero. The Marcellus also holds an estimated 1.5 billion barrels of natural gas liquids, while the Point Pleasant also holds an estimated 1.8 billion barrels of oil and 985 million billion barrels of natural gas liquids as well. Undiscovered resources are those that have been estimated to exist based on geology and other data, but have not been proven to exist by drilling yet. So they haven't found it by a rig, but they have identified them through technology. Technically, recoverable resources, meanwhile, are those that can be produced using today's standard industry practices and technology. So there's PA right here. So you see Maryland, West Virginia, and even some in New York and Ohio. Yeah, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. Allow for comments here? No. So let's take another. I want to show you something what they found in the shale and Permian Basin. So bear with me. Hold on just a second. Let's go back to the USGS, and this is Forbes Dateline, December 21st, 2018. America's oil and gas reserves double with massive new Permian discovery. Americans USGS on November. We can read it right here. Let's click on this and we'll read on that later. America's energy security just got a lot more secure. On November 28th, the USGS published an assessment of continuous or unconventional or tight resources. In part, remember, continuous means it's spread throughout, not just concentrated. In part of the prolific Permian oil and gas basin that straddles West Texas and southeastern New Mexico. Located in the Wolfcamp Shale in the overlying Bone Spring Formation, the unproven, remember that means they haven't drilled for it, they haven't put a rig yet to drill for it. Technically, recoverable reserves are officially the largest on the planet. But curiously, this story isn't making waves in the mainstream media. Nearly 1/3 of the U.S. crude already comes from the Permian, making it the largest shale oil-producing region in the country. While numerous studies have been conducted in the Permian's half-dozen subbasins and their many overlapping formations, this represents the first comprehensive USGS assessment of continuous resources in Wolfcamp and Bone Spring within the Delaware Basin. And the findings are truly incredible. The USGS estimated that over 46 billion barrels of oil, 280 trillion cubic feet of gas. Remember, a trillion cubic feet is the equivalent of a quadrillion of BTUs, and 20 billion barrels of natural gas liquids are trapped in these low permeability shale formations. To better understand how staggering these numbers are, think about this. At the end of 2017, the U.S. proven reserves of crude oil hovered around 40 billion. For natural gas, figures stood at 465 trillion cubic feet. The new upward revision of the Permian alone represents more than 100% and 65% increase in U.S. oil and gas reserves, respectively, if they can be extracted economically. It is important to note that the recent USGS survey includes estimates for unproven reserves, estimated resources based on geological knowledge and theory, and technically recoverable reserves, resources available using current technology and industry practices. While reasonable conclusions can be drawn about the extent of the resources in these basins, the approximations do not address future economic profitability because, again, if we have huge amounts of supply, what does that do to price? It usually drops it down depending on where the demand is. The interesting thing about the demand, though, if we start exporting more and more to India and China, the demand will be high. Supply high will meet the demand. All right, so let's see what we got here. Let's see. Here's another way to look at it. The world consumes approximately 100 million barrels of oil and 0.36 trillion cubic feet. So basically, what's that? 0.36. That'd be a third of a trillion cubic feet. So basically, a third of a quadrillion BTU of natural gas per day. So the world consumes 100 million barrels of oil and a third of a trillion cubic feet of natural gas per day. It's only going to get more as China and India be developed. This means that Wolfcamp and Bone Spring have sufficient resources to meet global oil demand for over a year and gas demand for several more. Not bad for a country that up until early 2015 banned the export of crude oil for fear of running out of domestic supplies. USA in your face, man. In your face. I freaking love the US. I love it. Let's read the USGS thing here real quick. Here's their assessment. Look, all this happened under freaking Obama. Now, obviously, it's happened under Trump now, but assessment of undiscovered continuous oil and gas resources in the Wolf Camp, and this Camp and Bone Shale Spring in Delaware, and this is under USGS. So this is in Texas. If we go back to Appalachian, we got formation holes an estimated 214 trillion cubic feet. This is just it's insane. It's insane. Why? You don't have to freeze to death. You can have clean burning natural gas at your discretion to fuel your heating needs. If you're in the Northeast, you just got to get rid of your stupid governor up there in New York and recognize natural gas is clean burning. Oh, you can go nuclear. I've got no problem with that. But the idea of that we're going to have this with wind and solar PV and hydro, give me a freaking break, man. It's there for the taking. And we're going to take it because there's no alternative. There's no alternative. We're not going green in terms of the green the way these idiots want to talk about. We are going productive. We're not going to freeze people to death. China isn't. China's going coal. We can go natural gas. India's going coal. We can go natural gas. We can go oil. China wants to go coal. Well, we got the natural gas. We'll be happy to ship to you in Germany. Instead of relying on Putin, we'd be happy to get it to you. This is freaking great. Lots to be optimistic about. All right, we'll see you.